Hey, what's up guys, Tony here, and you're watching another Project Cars video. This is week 205 of the GT5 Cup, the UK Cup, in the Ginetta G40. I don't remember the name of the car. It's funny, like I want to talk about some things later on, but I want to talk about the car and in the series right now before I get onto that, as I seem to do in all my videos. So anyways, I'm really enjoying this car. At first I didn't really like the car. It was just, I don't know, I just didn't like it. And so after the first week, and then now here we are, I finished the second race, the second week. I'm finding that I really enjoy this car a lot. Now, I mean, granted, these are on tracks that I really enjoy. Like, I really like Alton Park. I wasn't that big of a fan of it at first, but through all the times that I've raced in iRacing, or raced at the track in iRacing, I've grown to love it. I really like that track. And Donington is a track that it took me a while to get used to the flow, but now that I know the track, I really enjoy this track. Like, it's a very, I don't know, I like the flow of the track. I just like it. And so this configuration isn't bad too. You know, taking out that last hairpin, you know, it's just cutting it short. What I will say is the AI is set to 95. I've been tinkering with it some more. It was at 90 last race, and I was thinking about putting it up to 100, but it's really strange because in the practice session, I didn't actually have the fastest lap. The fastest lap went to the AI, and it was like a 1:23.3 or something like that, and I think I ran like a 1:23.9 or something like that. But in qualify, I had the fastest lap by like 2 seconds, which blew my mind. I didn't quite understand how that was possible. And then so the sprint race, I totally destroyed the field, so I opted to not show that race, because I mean, you know, whatever, it wasn't that entertaining. So it's like, okay, I'll do the longer race with the pit stop. But what I'm noticing about the AI is that they're sort of incapable of taking turn 3 or turn 4. I don't, you know, it's the long downhill right-hander. I don't really know which number it is, because, like, you know, you have the sort of the S's that come after turn 2. So I'm not sure if that constitutes like turn 3, but well, I'll just call that turn 3 and the S's before it. So anyways, turn 3, they don't really know how to take that corner quickly. So every lap in the sprint race, I was gaining at least a second or more, because I just can take it faster than they can. They just don't take it very well. So I cranked it up to 95. I thought about going up to 100, but I thought that might be a little too much, because I'm trying to find the balance between, you know, having an AI that's competitive with me instead of like having an AI that's just gonna totally blow me out of the water. And I know some people enjoy the challenge of trying to chase down the AI, of having a faster AI, and maybe I should try that. But for me, I want someone that's going to be competitive with me, and I had that in the last race you saw at Alton Park. The AI, you know, I had a hard time chasing down the AI. I probably could have turned it up just a couple of notches, maybe like a 93 to maybe 94, maybe 92, 94. But for the most part, that's what I'm looking for. You know, I want to, you know, I don't want to feel bad that the AI is kicking my ass, and I want to have a good time, you know, catching them. And it's a single-player game, so I mean, I want to win. You know, if I'm racing, obviously, when you're race iRacing or online racing, you know, the best man wins, best man, best woman, best driver wins. But I don't know. It's just, you know, it's a single-player game. I kind of want to win, and I'm not going to nerf the AI to the point where I destroy them, but I want to make it a challenge. I don't want to blow the doors off. So that's what happened in the sprint race. I just totally blew their doors off. So, and you could already see in this race that I'm already ahead by a significant amount. So my thought is that come the pit stop, that I'll have a little bit more closer racing. So we'll look forward to that. So anyways, what I want to talk about is I want to do a little bit of an update. So it's been about, I don't know, 5 days or so since I posted my last video, and I asked you guys if you wanted to hear any stories from my living situation. So I want to tell a couple early stories. They're not too long, but just a couple early stories. But before that, I want to give you guys an update. So just so you guys know, since I've been talking about it for the last few videos now, and it's sort of I guess a therapeutic theme for myself to you know, explore and just vocalize the things that are going on. And like I said in my last video, at the end of it, it really is helping me out a lot. I do feel way better So like I said before, I appreciate you guys who are stopping by to watch and listen and comment. So the update goes like this. Last week, my uncle, so my mom, my uncle, and then my aunt a day later, they toured a care facility in a town over, basically Carlsbad. I don't know if you're familiar with North San Diego County, but I live in the northern part of the county. So we got Oceanside, Carlsbad, Vista. I live in the Tri-City area. So Carlsbad's the city over, and so they looked at this care facility for my grandmother, and they really liked it. All three of them liked it, and so my uncle put a deposit down. And so today, actually, in about 4 hours, we're going to have someone from the facility come and evaluate my grandmother. So they're going to talk to me as the caregiver and ask me questions, and then they're going to talk to her. They're going to try to talk to her. I don't know if it's going to work, but we'll see. But mostly, I think what they'll do is they're going to ask me questions about my grandmother and what is she like on a day-to-day basis. And from what I understand and from what my uncle told me, that they're using that as I guess a way to judge how much care she's going to need. And then so that's today. Tomorrow I have to talk to this I don't know, somebody from the insurance company is going to come out to the house, and they're going to speak to me, and they want to hear like everything for insurance purposes. So I'm gonna have another long conversation with the insurance lady tomorrow, and then on Friday there is a doctor's appointment. So her doctor needs to fill out some forms, and I don't really know exactly what else is going on with the doctor, but there's a handful of forms that he has to fill out. So things are moving very rapidly. I'll be honest. I'm kind of I'm not necessarily shocked, but it's all happening a lot faster than I thought it was going to happen. That's basically what I'm trying to say. Because, about a month ago or so, when we had our family meeting to talk about my grandma and her living situation and basically her welfare and sort of the future of where she'll be in the next several months, it was sort of an unknown. They're just like, we don't know. We don't have any idea when. And I told my uncle, because I'm living here and I have to find a new place to live and I have to find a new job. I said I need some lead time. I need to know about when I'm gonna have to find a job and find a new place to live. I mean, I have a place to live, so that's not a problem, but I want to be employed before I get there. And so when he sprung it on me last week, I guess it was probably last Friday, thereabouts, I was kind of like, holy shit, this is moving really fast. So she could potentially be in this care facility at the beginning of September. And so that puts me in a very bad situation. It's the exact situation that I feared was going to happen, and it's sort of coming true. Years and years and years ago, when I was thinking about this, my uncle had always sort of envisioned it as sort of an emergency sort of move for her. Pick her up and put her in a home and call it a day. And so he's always sort of said that, and I've always thought, well, damn, that sucks, because if it's going to be sort of like a panic emergency situation, then I'm not going to have anywhere to go. It's going to be, where's Tony going to go? Tony's the afterthought, which is fine by all rights. I am the afterthought. My grandma, her care is primary. That's our primary focus here. But I guess I shouldn't sound like bash myself for sounding selfish, but I'm trying to also think about myself, because I need to have a life after grandma here. So basically, what I sort of feared before seems to be coming true. I'm getting very little notice. So that's going to be kind of tough. I'm going to find myself more than likely in the next couple of weeks just packing up and moving sort of in haste. My uncle sort of assured me, he goes, well, you can stay in the house, because he wants to renovate this house and he wants to be able to rent it out to help subsidize the cost of her care facility. But my personal belief is that once she's gone, I kind of want to be out of here as well. I want to shed this place. Maybe I'll stay here for a few days. Who knows? I'm not entirely sure. But for the most part, I want to kind of go as well and just sort of cut ties. But anyways, that's what's going on right now. That's what the most current things are going on. And I guess I'll let you guys know in a handful of days how today and tomorrow go. Because I do want to keep working on this Project Cars series. I really enjoy Project Cars. I'm really enjoying it right now. Because I think I said in my last video, I'm getting sort of my racing fix in, and to get to make videos, which for me is it's fun. I like it. I like doing it. I like talking with you guys. I like interacting with you guys. So, anyways, I'll let you guys know what the update is. You know, a few days from now, maybe I don't know, Friday or Saturday. We'll see. So, anyways, I got to thinking, and I saw your comments in the last video. I was like, okay, a couple people were like, yeah, I'd like to hear some stories. I was like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna think of some. I don't want to think of any sad ones. I don't want to depress anybody. But I want to like tell you guys the first couple of stories that I remember, the first sort of instances that I remember. So when I was asked to move in 2008, I really hadn't seen much of my grandmother for about a year or so, because I was still living in Santa Barbara. When my grandfather passed away in January of 2007, I was still living in Santa Barbara. So we were looking at like 13 months, 14 months before I moved in. So I lived most of 2007 in Santa Barbara. I moved back home in July of 2007, and then I moved in with my parents, who were living in a town called Temecula, and so it's basically South Riverside County. And so anyways, I moved in with them, and I started to go to a community college as a way to prevent myself from having to pay off some student loan debt right out of school. So I started going to school. I started working up there. I was working in a camera store, this place called Ritz Camera in the Temecula Promenade Mall. And then I was living and going to school at Palomar College in San Marcos. So I did that for a semester, and then my uncle starts about February or so. He starts getting a hold of me and said, hey, you know, we need someone to come stay with Grandma. So okay, yeah. So I agreed. I said, yeah, sure, I'll do that. I was commuting up to go to work, so that was kind of a pain. But at that time, she really didn't have much in the way of needs. She was very self-sufficient. She was very aware, and she's not like she is today, obviously. But what I remember is that when I first moved in, my grandmother had this moment. I was sitting on my bed, and I was reading something for class, and so I had a different desk at the time, and I had this old rickety chair that, like, when you sat in it, would creak, right? Anyway, so she comes in and she sits down. Basically, it's at the foot of my bed too. She sits down and she's like in tears, and she tells me that she doesn't want to go to a home. She doesn't want to go to a retirement home because her sisters went to a retirement home, and I don't remember which one, but one of them had Alzheimer's as well. She was the total opposite of my grandmother. Like, she apparently was very playful and very childlike, where my grandmother is very bitter and angry. And so it's really strange how the disease manifests itself differently in different people. So anyways, she was in tears, crying at the foot of my bed, telling me she doesn't want to go to a home. And I told her, I reassured her, I said, Grandma, that's why I'm here. I'm here to make sure that you can stay in this house, that you can live here, you can be comfortable. And that seemed to reassure her. And the other thing about when I first moved in that I remember very vividly is that my grandmother used to laugh a lot. You know, she and I used to have a great rapport. I used to make her laugh. You know, we would have a good time together. And this goes back to my childhood. I used to always love making my grandma laugh. And there did come a time where the laughter stopped. And I can't quite pinpoint when it was, how many years ago. I'm gonna probably say maybe four years ago or something like that. But yeah, she used to laugh a lot. She used to joke a lot, and she used to think we would go pick up her pills at Rite Aid, and she would tell me about Paulina. I don't exactly know what the reference is. Either TV show, like an old TV show, but she used to go pills and bills, because she had bills to pay and she had pills to take. So anyways, so just some of the musings I have right now. The one story that I do want to tell you that it's funny to me is that I started taking her to the grocery store because, like I said, she couldn't drive. She lost her driving privileges before I moved in. And so I take her to the grocery store every Friday or thereabouts. And it got to be a Friday routine. And so a lot of my stories will probably hinge, you know, or be centered around Fridays, trips to the grocery store, things of that nature. But there's two grocery stores around me in very close proximity. Both of them are Albertsons. One's a really big one. It's kind of funny because years later I ended up working for Albertsons. The other one is the one I mostly took her to is the one that I ended up working at. And so this, the other store, which is known as quote 33, but so this other store 33 is down the road for me, and that's the one I started taking her to in the first place because it was kind of larger. She actually didn't like that store, so we ended up going to the one over here on Melrose where I was working. But so we'd go to this larger store, and so like you walk in the right side of the store, like there's a Starbucks and a produce department and all this stuff, but it's a huge store. I mean, it's like gigantic. And what I would do is she used to make lists, right? A grocery shopping list, and so she'd write down there, and you could see like the writing was on the wall as far as her memory going, because she would write like cereal, eggs, bacon, bananas, apples, cereal, and then she might repeat herself a couple of times while she's going through the list, but really no big deal. So what I used to do is I used to like try to like work her brain. So I'd say, hey grandma, what are we getting at the grocery store today? And she's like, well, I have my list. I was like, okay, well, what's on that list? So I'd want her to think, and I'd want her to remember, and I'd want her to try to not depend on these aids, like a note or something like that. Now, I mean, I understand it's sort of a futile endeavor, but for me, it felt like I was helping, like I was doing something. I just maybe it was denial, I don't know, but I was sitting going like, I think if I can get her just to think and work her brain, because she used to do crossword puzzles. Oh my gosh, I remember she'd get the newspaper and the TV guide and anything. She loved crossword puzzles, and so if there was a crossword puzzle to do, she would do it, and she would not let it go until she's done with it. And she used to have them all over the place. So anyways, I just thought that was great for her to work her brain like that, and I figured maybe if she's working her brain, that might prolong the onset of the really nasty stuff. And so anyways, we go to the grocery store, and we go and we pick out, she picks out some bananas, and then she picks out some apples and some other things, and we're walking around the store, and I remembered that I had to go back to the produce department because I wanted to buy Albertsons has really fantastic cookies. Like if you have an Albertsons around you, go buy their chocolate chip cookies. They're amazing. Make sure they're squishy though. If you buy them, they're like baked too hard. They got to be like squishy. So just grab the bag and kind of squeeze them. And if they, if they're squishy, buy those. Like you'll eat the whole bag. You'll feel like crap, but it'll be delicious. Anyways, I really wanted some of those cookies. So I went back to the produce department, and because the bakery was in the back right corner, they had the whole they had the deli, sort of the deli counter, and the bakery lined up on the right wall, and the produce department was right in front of it, or is right in front of it. So anyways, I went back over there, and it was the last place I had to go, and so we go back there, and I park the cart, and I'm getting some cookies, and my grandma wanders off. And at this time, she didn't use a cane. Like, she has arthritis in her knee, and so she walked very quickly. She was very, very swift before. Now she's on the cane, and she still moves, don't get me wrong. But she used to walk a lot faster. Excuse me. And so she would disappear sometimes. Just like I have to go find her, because she'll say, oh, I'm gonna get such and such item, and then she'll go and get it. She wouldn't really necessarily hang out with me while we're shopping. And so I parked the cart. I was picking through the cookies to find the the smushy ones, the really kind of good ones. So she walked over to the bananas, and so she picked out a new bushel of bananas, and she brought them over, and I picked up the one in the cart. I said, hey grandma, you already got bananas. And she looked at me, and she looked at the bananas, and she made this really funny, like, disgusted face, and she shook her head, and she's like, I don't like those bananas. And I was like, what the hell? You picked them? I didn't tell her this, but I kind of like laughed. I was like, okay. And I put the bananas that she first had picked out back. And I was like dying on the inside. I was like, oh my gosh, you picked these out. How do you not like the bananas that you picked out? What is it about these bananas that you already liked that suddenly you don't like? So anyways, I got a good chuckle about that. I would tell my friends and family some of these fun stories. because there was a lot of fun stories until they started to not become fun, and then I stopped telling these stories. But that's probably one of the better memories that I have, and probably one of the first times that I realized that she showed a sign that something was wrong, that she didn't remember something. Because up to that point, I mean, she would forget certain things. Like, when I first moved in, she would call me all the time. She remembered my phone number, but she'd call me all the time. Tony, did I take my pills? And I might be at school. I'm like, how the hell should I know? You're at school. I wouldn't tell her that, but I'm like, I don't know. Yeah, I guess so. But she didn't remember. There was no system in place for her to know that she took her pills, and so I put a system in place so that way she knew. Because she had like this little plastic pop-up pill. You know, here's all your pills for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You know, all the way to Sunday. Well, she would forget those. She would see Monday, and she might go like, oh, I forgot. There are no pills in here, so I'll take Tuesday's pills. So she would start to rationalize things like that, which like having a week's worth of pills there was not a good idea. Because before I moved in, I guess she had taken like 2 days worth of pills, and so she had to go to the hospital, and they pumped her stomach, and it was a nightmare. So I wanted to avoid that mess. So I put in a place, sort of a system in place where it was a daily allotment of pills, and that's all she got for the day, and that still goes on today. So anyways, I don't want to ramble on any longer than I need to, but that's kind of a fun little story. I have to dig around. I started writing a journal, I don't know how many years ago now, maybe a few. I should have started sooner, way sooner, but I didn't think I was going to be here that long. And so it would be kind of nice to have some of those memories. I might have to start brainstorming with some of my family and friends about some of the things they remember. But that was a funny story. So I'll have some more later on. Maybe some bad ones. We'll see. I don't know if I want to go down that road just yet, but it's actually quite nice to sort of sit back and remember so far the good times, the early good times. I'll definitely tell you guys about Fridays. Fridays were amazing. Fridays were good fun. Always were. Got a couple of memorable moments out of there. So anyways, guys, as always, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing, and I shall talk to you guys later.